Hello, chat. We are back, and I hope you can hear me because it's been one of those days. This is Magic Fish Radio. We stream TTRPG stuff on Tuesdays and Saturday nights. Tonight is Vampire the Masquerade, Eldritch Adversaries, set in the roaring 1920s, because we have to specify that now. We've been playing Vampire that long. No, not really. Maybe not. I don't know. Vampire stuff.
I have no concept of time.
Yeah, this is a pandemic. When even are we? Time is an illusion.
I have a full-time job as a teacher. Time has very much meaning to me.
Yes. So on Saturday night, I think this is Indie Game Week, because we did Exit to Eden and What in Space 2 weeks in a row. If you're interested in watching any of these shows, go check up our YouTube channel, go join our Discord. There should be links in the Discord, in the chat. Okay, words. Anyway, I'm just the channel producer, so I think at this point my job is done for the night. John is our GM. Over to you, John. What plans do you have to torture our characters with tonight?
That would be spoilers, and I'm the only one in this chat who actually likes receiving spoilers. So
that might be false, but you know.
I don't actually like spoilers. So
allow
yeah,
me
you've
to
got a
rephrase. I'm the only person in this stream who I'm aware encourages spoilers, because I want to know when I'm heading into a good scene or a shit scene in something. But that's 1/6, half dozen of the other.
The Count of Monte Cristo gets locked in the Chateau d'If and becomes the Count of Monte Cristo.
Right. Anyway, evening and welcome. My name is John, and I will be once again your storyteller this evening, where we will hopefully provide you with some fun, some entertainment, some disturbing revelations and transactions as we watch Isabel attempt to talk about things that she doesn't have any of the relevant information for, because the coterie split up and everyone else learned stuff.
Or did stuff. Or both. Vern.
Hey.
And Vern, the fact that you have murdered one mortal and consumed by diablerie, I am here for it. I am totally here for your continued path and the decisions you make. I'm so glad you are becoming addicted to death. It makes me so happy.
And this is why, as producer and GMs all over the world, you should let new players who are completely new to the setting and the system into your game, because my boring butt would never have thought to diablerize the bad guys. Like, no, you don't do that. If I do that, everyone else in the LARP will have an excuse to kill me finally. Dracus does not have no
had him
baggage.
grappled and his neck was right there, and I needed him to stop attacking Philippe.
The newer players in our game have none of the baggage I have, and it is exciting to watch, let me tell you!
And not just that, but you also got some sweet new loot.
This is true.
So yes.
I don't know about any of that yet.
No, you don't.
That's because it happened off screen.
And also, I should make this clear to everyone now, getting it out of the way. As far as I'm concerned, when you diablerize a person, unless that individual is of the elder generation or older, the black veins in your aura will not start appearing, much like the beneficiary effects of diablerie won't start appearing until your next evening's awakening. So, until next evening's awakening, because obviously Vern didn't consume an elder or an antediluvian, there are not going to be any traces in their aura until they wake up next evening and someone looks at them with Scry the Soul.
So right now they're a stealth diablerist.
Yes.
Nice.
For now.
Oh, so speaking of loot, I forgot one thing as channel producer. So we do chat buy-ins for our stream where you can buff or nerf the players or GM as you see fit. But instead of using cash, because we don't have any, you don't have any, let's be honest, we use channel points. So look in the channel points bubble button thingy. You can buy +1s for the players, willpower for the players, and critical rolls for the players. It's a bit more complicated, but it always takes us too long to explain. We'll tell you when it comes up. We'll explain it.
When somebody finally crit fails, you'll be thankful they're there.
Yes. And the GM, you can also buy +1s for the GM. Right now, as it stands, and players, it all goes into one pool so that we can all draw from, because it's easier to keep track of. The players have 4 +1s, 2 willpower, and 1 crit exchange. The GM has 20 +1s. So,
honestly, the way some of these
spend
characters
your
have rolled, it's been one of two situations. Either it's not necessary to roll the extra die because he rolled disgustingly well, like the time we dropped Vern in episode 1, or I've been rolling so poorly that one extra die wouldn't make a difference.
Yes, and that's what a +1 is. It's a +1 die to your pool. Because unlike Exit to Eden, we're doing the actual standard roll fistfuls of D10s way of doing White Wolf games.
It is so satisfying to roll a fist. It's why people love casting Fireball in D&D. You just take those 8d6. You got the heft in your hand. You feel the power as you roll, and the clickety-clack of math rocks. It just gets you right in the gamer. And of course, I am using the official Vampire the Masquerade 5th edition dice with their symbols of success, critical success, nothing. Or bestial failure. Always fun.
Woohoo! Well, fun for you.
It can be fun for everyone, depending upon when it happens and where it happens. But that's enough of that. We need to move things along. So, moving on. Dracus, why don't you introduce yourself real quick before we get back into things?
All right. Hi, I'm Dracus. I'm playing Vern this evening. Definitely Diablerized someone last session. I think that's my defining character trait at the moment. And we'll see the fallout from that tonight, probably.
Someone named Pure Dark Nature is buying us a bunch of player stuff.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I wondered.
you.
I'm like, wait, I know that screen name. Oh, okay, dude. Okay.
I
think
am
we're gonna need
terrified
them.
now.
Yeah, we might need them tonight. Oh dear. No
I mean,
spoilers,
it
though.
really depends on how often you use your willpower and how you're rolling, but mostly your values just seem really, really pathetically low, so I'm just like, I'm just going to pass a few your way.
Yep. I mean, it means your account is watching your Civi account is watching our stream and beefing up our numbers, so I am fine with this. Even when I am the GM, it's like, yeah, let's do this. Use those channel points. I have so many.
Well, I can't tune in on Saturday, so I can't use them there, so.
True. Oh, Mulk Maven subscribed. Thanks, bro. Mulk Maven was there for Charisse 1.0. And they were... I think they were the Mulk Primogen. I forgot. They were definitely one of the oldest Mulks by the end of the 18-month LARP. One of the oldest Mulks we still had in game. Thanks, bro. I'm sorry that we have nothing to offer subscribers, but thank you for your subscription. Maybe I should fix that. Producer problems. Right now, I'm a player. Moving on.
Right, and after that, I got completely distracted. Vern, did you finish introducing yourself?
Yeah.
Okay, then. Ari, would you please?
Hello, I'm Ari. I play Isabel Quincy, Vern's now significantly less cool sister on account of the fact that former cooler sister, now significantly less cool sister.
I have a Diablo.
Don't let her know that.
Hey, Isabel was the cool sister when they were alive. I think that's absolutely true comparatively. I see how this is. Anyway, hi. I don't have much else to say. She's currently so Charisse is out meeting Primogen, Vern is out doing Diablerie, and and Isabel is meeting. Actually, Isabel's meeting a few people who may be very dangerous.
Isabel
because
stayed at the
she has
hotel,
to...
which might have been the worst idea, as it turns out. Whoops. Sorry, friend.
Well, this is exactly what you left her behind to do, was to speak to people in the event someone wanted to speak with you all.
Yes,
You
of
just
course.
expected to have been back sooner with this information. Meanwhile, the two of you have been out for the last 2.5, 3 hours,
Yes.
having secret conversations with primogens and dodging a hunter.
Hunter.
So let me just first get straight what Isabel knows. Isabel knows that 10 people died. 7 were Malks, 3 were not. She does not know who these people are, but suspects that finding this out will help. Will help something. She knows they all died. She knows they all died in a fire. She knows that this bastard face who sucks perpetrated this deed. She knows that the bastard man who sucks is being protected by the primogen, according to the Malks that she talked to earlier. And she knows that there is a hunter out there that has been hunting Nosferatu, or at least that has run into the Nosferatu that they're trying to deal with.
And 90% of this information has been disproven by her companions, and this is going to be so deliciously awkward.
Yes, I'm just trying to figure out. That's, I believe, what she knows currently. None of it's right, but
there were 2 hunters that came into the city, and they lost
200. Yes, she also knows she's not supposed to talk about that because that's a Nos problem. And currently she thinks that's unrelated to the bastard jerk. I can't remember his name. I'm just calling him the bastard man who sucks. I can't remember his actual name.
Tremaine Thoreau.
Tremaine Thoreau, thank you.
Incidentally, borrowed from a person I used to play Vampire the Masquerade with back in 2nd edition. I have permission to bring this character into V5 and to bring in one of his special pieces of equipment.
Oh dear.
Well, that means we have to kill him now. Oh no, wait, that's
oh yeah,
D&D.
objectively.
Or does it? I don't remember. Do D&D tropes move into? I guess they can. It's just that when you murder hobo here, you have a morality counter. That takes.
Yeah, but it also depends on who you're murdering. Like, no one gives a shit if you murder the Sabbat. Depending upon the Camarilla city you're in, some people don't care if you kill an Anarch.
Huh.
I mean, killing humans is mostly where you start getting stains on your humanity, or diablerizing. Like, diablerizing usually takes a huge hit to your humanity, as Vern learned a few weeks ago.
Sorry, I was just
sure did.
Laughing. Malk Maven relates that, yep, Charisse 1.0 was one of the few reliable Malks under my old primogen, and I'm like, Jesus Christ. And then Dracus said she's the only reliable person in this coterie. I'm like, they didn't know for like the first 10 episodes that there were 2 of her.
Yeah.
And then
I also still haven't told new guy, by the way.
The first thing the second one did when she showed up was blood bond the Von True to her for funsies.
Yeah.
That is a thing we forgot to mention about Isabel. Isabel is blood bonded.
Yes. Yeah. Sorry, let me rephrase that. Isabel is blood bonded to
Riza.
To half of the Malkavian.
Yes.
I believe we have established that she is blood bonded to Riza, but not to Charisse. I believe that's how we've been playing it.
You have an increased affection towards Charisse, but not to the degree that you have an affection towards, like, you feel a compulsion to protect Charisse a little bit more than you did, but given the choice between Charisse and Riza, you will bring out Riza.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Which is in fact what she did last time.
That is true. That is true. You did start making out with Charisse to bring out Riza.
Because you are not Charisse's husband, and that's wrong!
It's infidelity. Oh no.
You and your Victorian standards.
It's the 1920s. She's not even that anachronistic yet.
It's true.
Right, because nobody was having an affairs and being completely disrespectful of the sanctity of marriage back in the Victorian era. Not at all.
Certainly
we didn't speak of such things.
Anyway, this brings us back
to those things.
Yeah. This brings us to our channel producer and the reason we're all here this evening.
Yes, I'm Chris. I'm playing a multiple Malkavian. Charisse Lowell is her given name, but sometimes she goes from being a quaint, nerd lady in tight Victorian morals, and then suddenly she has a southern accent and is very brazen and will happily blood bond her coterie mate once she realizes they have also gotten themselves hooked on Fey blood. Have I mentioned all of these things happening? We're not from Paris. We're from Boston. We were passing through Paris on our way to Vienna, and this happened. So, whoops. We weren't even supposed to be here today. And, yep. So, yeah, my character last game had a conversation with herself, which has not happened to this character in any of her incarnations thus far. And I finally clipped it, and it was just... Whoa.
You're
It was
welcome.
good.
So yes, look at clips. Please clip our stream. I'm tired of having to be the only one who does it. It's like I'm already the channel producer. I have to clip my own stream too?
I don't know how. So
Nor do I.
There's a button. You just click clip. You could do it on a playback.
Oh.
You could do it while it's live. Like,
Is
I
that a
see.
thing I can do on my tablet? Because I watch this on my tablet.
maybe. Well, maybe not. Maybe right now we should play a game.
Is that a dragon behind you? I'm so sorry to get distracted.
It is only a dragon as far as Skyrim is concerned. But
I am living and breathing Skyrim.
this was from the Skyrim Collector's Edition.
Amazing.
Fancy.
Tovakin.
It's like a whole word wall.
Skyrim.
I have had the opportunity back when people were playing around a table with me to use this as a miniature for a combat.
Oh,
to
good.
represent a great warm black dragon.
Good.
Well, you know what? For size difference, this was actually appropriate. Plus, it's a decent-looking hunk of plastic.
That is a solid looking plunk of plastic.
I'm delighted. Thank you for
Also-
sharing.
This shit's hollow, but it is very good looking. Certainly better than that Kratos figurine I got. Get up there. Right.
Now,
And
our
with all of
area
that
also has a little
sidetracking out
friend.
of the way,
Chair
That's
is a
my coolest
problem.
hunk of plastic.
Ooh.
look, this is not the stream where we start measuring out our action figure collections, because we'll be here a while as I dig out all my Transformers.
I mean,
Oh,
we could
oh,
have
I-
a stream of that, but like, tell me in advance so I know not to make us all black and white.
I just wanted to show off my Imperial Knight because I think it looks very cool.
Tell you what, we'll do this one before we actually try running an SS20 Transformers game, which is still a thing I would like to do if I can make the system not suck. Anyway,
I'm in favor of this as well.
sorry to anyone who might work for Renegade Game Studios having heard me said that, but Essence 20, you need to work on that shit a little bit. We need Essence 20.5 like now, because Essence 20 is a little.
We tried playtesting Power Rangers over the weekend. This time we got through 2 rounds of combat. The first time we tried it, we didn't even finish one because but just put out a rules errata. Just a rules errata. That's all
Like
we
it's
need.
like
Reminds me.
is it too crunchy or what?
No.
Crunch isn't the problem. It's that the crunch has not been fully explained in the book. So there
Oh.
are terms and symbols on the character sheet that are not actually explained in the book yet. Errata!
Also-
Give us a PDF.
Also, that pre-generated character sheet, I'm pretty sure that that's a typo on that, because again, stun should have a number following it to indicate how many turns they're stunned, whereas yours just says plus stun and then no value. So I'm pretty sure
Anyway.
that's just a typo on the sheet.
Anyway,
Yes.
V5
Yes.
has been very playable, and while I don't agree with everything that changed from previous Vampire editions, it's very playable. Thank you,
Because-
whoever wrote it.
Because I also cut out some of the rules that are kind of stupid, and I streamlined some of the stuff. Also
Oh.
because,
Okay.
no, I mean there's some. Look, you haven't missed the rules I've removed.
Honestly, I don't think I would actually complain if we ended up rolling back to V20 or whatever. I don't care.
I have no opinions on system. I do not understand half of what I read, like most of the time.
I understand it. I just don't care.
I'm only going to stick with V5 simply because I have more of the books at this point. But again,
Mhm.
moving along, because we need to get back into this shit.
Because Ari has some Toreador to talk to. I'm sorry, Isabel has some Toreador to talk
She
to.
also, yes, she does.
One of my favorite Toreador to point out.
Yep.
So yes,
So
moving.
favorite, he ended up in the Shadowfell with my D&D party. Making us
nice.
croissants in the frozen northlands of the Shadowfell.
Delightful.
It was, that was a trip. That game was literally a trip.
That game is supposed to still be happening, but we haven't done it in...
In that case, that's what happens when just life keeps hitting the players in the face. And D&D is difficult to run with 1 or 2 less players because like party balance is such a thing.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Anyway.
So, because it's been 2 weeks, a quick recap. The coterie decided to divide itself to gain as much information as they could so that they could better consolidate their options and figure out what would be a viable choice and what might not be a viable choice. And in order to help out their good friend Garrison, who has been, quite honestly, just a solid guy to deal with, but so has every member of the de Sable cartel so far.
They're the best. Love those guys.
Thank you. I rather enjoyed constructing all of those NPCs. And using them is just something I greatly enjoy because, again, I put a lot of effort into them and their personalities and their interactions. You all haven't even dealt with the bitchiest yet. That might happen sometime in the future. Oh, she's special. But that's besides the point. So, Riza, carrying Charisse in the back of her head, went off and wound up having to speak with a Malkavian with which they were accommodated, and wind up having to then get dragged into a carriage where she met not only the Malkavian Primogen, but the Lasombra Primogen.
And was pretty.
They were both very pretty. But the Lasombra are vain like that. Not Toreador vain, but Ventru vain. At which point it was revealed that the reason why someone didn't notice 7 Malkavians suddenly dying, and that they weren't potentially outside Malkavians, was because someone may have been replacing Malkavians, and somebody's been fuzzing with the connections in the network, which is why Mortimer was able to gain information, because Mortimer was not part of this node of the Malkavian network. So he was able to work through the fuzz.
You know, the most reliable member of the coterie also has an invisible friend that mediums can't see.
Yeah.
So reliable.
Who was also abducted in a rather traumatizing scene in which a mysterious figure in a reflection abducted his consciousness from inside her mind. It is also at this point that the Malkavian Primogen, with her much greater control of Auspex and Dominate, allowed Riza to speak with Charisse for the first time in ever.
If only so we don't have to go through a whole bunch of exposition the next time we see Charisse.
I thought you would appreciate that.
Yeah. So weirdly enough, Charisse usually suffers... Charisse firmly believes she just has memory loss problems, and actively avoids and ignores and rejects anything that suggests there is another of her. But in this case, Riza just info dumped on her, and now she won't have to be caught up when she wakes up again. And she won't understand why, but she'll have all the info she needs.
Fuzzy memory issues. She learned it. She just doesn't remember where. And there was this very provocatively dressed woman who looks like she might have been a cousin. But I mean, heaven forbid, I would never put that much emphasis on my chest.
Or wear
let alone leave that much of it exposed.
Or wear makeup.
Mm-hmm. Which then brings us to Vern. Vern went to go meet up with Philippe, which is a high-ranking Nosferatu, not Primogen, but a high-ranking enough Nosferatu, and what has become a casual acquaintance One might even argue friend, but you don't know each other well enough for that yet.
Bro, I just killed someone for him.
I mean, yeah, they might be that close
Yes.
now.
I'm referring to when you went looking for him.
Fair enough.
After running into another one of the Parisian Nosferatu, whose grasp of English was...
Lacking.
Yeah, it's lacking is a good way to put it. He led you to the entrance to a Nosferatu safe house, which is located inside an old sanitarium, which the Nosferatu have, mostly kept as a good place to hide out because nobody comes visiting this place. Everyone thinks it's creepy and evil, and, we're fine there. Shortly after getting out, Vern discovered there's a windstorm whipping through out there. I should be able to hear that. That's a problem. I'm gonna be invisible and super stealthy and as a bolt whizzes past their head. Vern, seeing what looks like a hunter chasing them through the sanitarium, begins firing, always strangely just missing with every attack they make. Very peculiar. Eventually launching a Molotov cocktail and locking the front doors, causing Vern to have to run up to the second floor and attempt to jump out a window, where again, bolts are fired, always just narrowly missing.
It wasn't an attempt to jump out the window. It was a success to jump out the window.
Yes, Vern did successfully jump out the window, where again, the hunter was going to make what would look like a successful strike before Philippe, discovering what was going on because the silence effect finally dropped, tackles him out the window. You hear the sound of bones crunch, and you assume the hunter is defeated.
Pretty sure he snapped the guy's neck, too, very efficiently.
He punched him right in the back of the neck, snapping the neck.
We like
because
Philippe.
he's got much higher potence than you do.
Save Philippe.
But then he got back up, and you heard the bones snapping back into place. As something the players recognized, but your character had no reason to recognize yet, as little tears in the skin started to form that would intersect, forming sigils. Something that Riza had seen in a reflection around someone's neck. But you, as the character, had no reason to see.
But the audience sees it.
Oh, the audience sees, the audience knows, the audience is concerned, but has the audience figured out what it is yet? Let's find out. Vern would perform diablerie, and upon diablerizing would gain access to a series of disciplines and a little bit of a generation bump, but would also find that there was a discipline there, but you couldn't access that knowledge. Something about it was locked off to you, but you know there's a way to access it. You're not sure how. While riding high on the bloodlust, you attempt to feed on Philippe, because the beast was sated, but the beast was also feeling gluttonous.
But I'm not full yet. I'm good, but I could be more good. And oh no.
I could be catatonic. We've not had Thanksgiving dinner yet. You are prevented from murdering Philippe, at which point a figure claps their hands and has a friendly and cordial sounding conversation before they sort of fall into the shadows, vanishing as if they were a member of the La Sombra or someone who had mastery of the Oblivion discipline. After which, you and Philippe looted the shit out of that body and then began running your way back, because this was shit you had to tell. Isabel, because the Malkavians were going to be less likely to open up to a Ventrue, and the Nosferatu were going to be less likely to open up to a Ventrue, and while you probably could have gone to get some information out of the Ventrue or the Toreador, maybe the La Sombra, you all figured it would be better if there was someone here in the event Garrison or one of his associates wanted an update. Because you figured somebody would just make a phone call back to you once they got the information from the people they went to see. They all had phones nearby. It wouldn't be that hard. They had been gone 20, 30 minutes when you hear a knock at the door. Oh, one of them came back. Maybe they forgot their keys or something. You are then greeted by a mountain of muscle, 7 feet tall and almost in wide in the shoulders as you are tall. And with a thick German accent, which is almost as bad as my French accent, guides you upstairs to the 13th floor, the unmarked floor, the floor that in its entirety is the office, haven, and resting area of Garrison Toussaint. At which point you are guided up by this large fellow and several others, and are led into the waiting area where now several of them are there cleaning and inspecting firearms, sharpening blades, and while they're all dressed in specifically tailored formal wear. Whether they are male or female, they are dressed in suits, and the suits are clearly cut in such a way to allow for movement. As a Ventru, you notice these things, not maybe as immediately as a Toreador would have, but you notice them all the same. But they are designed for functionality as well as passing for formal attire. Mm-hmm. And you are led into the office of Garrison Toussaint, who is standing next to his chair, but his chair is currently occupied by another figure. A figure to which Garrison defers, and he is introduced as the former holder of the position running this particular establishment and overseeing this branch of the Sable organization. And his name is Hubert Fiontelli, and he would like to ask you some questions as the heavy double door, as the doors closed on the office, which now brings us up to speed and up to date.
Of course, I would be happy to. I would be happy to. What do you have? What would you like to know? Now, I'm still, admittedly, waiting on a little more information. We have, my friends have gone out to do a little bit of investigating. I was meant to be, the point woman, as it were. But I can share with you as much as I know. How much have you been told, if I may ask?
I have been told some things by my associate here. Some of these things do not quite add up.
Mm-hmm.
Many of these things, as a matter of fact, do not quite add up. So I was hoping for a bit more clarity. You say the rest of your coterie has ventured off to gain information. They brought ghouls with them for security?
They've what?
Did they bring their ghouls with them for security?
Unfortunately, the only one of us who actually has ghouls is me, and she's at home running the business, so we don't have ghouls at the moment.
So in a situation where we are dealing with multiple kindred homicides that have not been solved, you decided to divide your coterie, allowing you all to wander off into potentially dangerous situations alone.
My thought was that with the opposition that we're running into, better to try to keep a low profile, and it's easier to keep a low profile if you don't have three people of very different clans running around together, known to be asking questions. I actually thought that I thought that it would be easier to escape notice this way.
Did you not assign them any security? I didn't know that they were going to split up in this fashion. Otherwise, I would have. I apologize. This is a flaw in Garrison. Just it's fine. Hopefully, they're fine.
I know for a fact that Vern at least can take care of himself.
Hans, mein Freund. Jawohl, mein Herr. I would like for you to do me a favor, please. Send out a couple of your best trackers to see if you can locate them and make sure they come back safely. And if there is a threatened presence, well, have fun. Really?
My thanks to you.
We have permission to have fun. So long as no one sees you have full permission to have fun.
Can we just all join?
Dankeschön, mein Herr. At which point the individual identified as Hans, who is the 7-foot-tall mountain of Bruja muscle, opens up the doors for a moment and begins speaking in German. At which point you hear, does Isabel speak German?
Do you think it makes sense for Isabel to speak German? I think it would make more sense for her to speak French than it would for her to speak German, just given
If you don't know German, you don't understand what's being said. It sounds harsh in the way German can, but it also sounds very military. Like there's a harshness, but there's a commandingness to it.
Yes.
And you hear the sounds of shoes coming to click together, and they definitely sound more like boot heels than actual shoes.
This isn't security. This is soldiers. Is
Well,
sort of like where I come to. Like you notice the difference.
If you want to ask about that, that is a thing you'll be able to do. But you hear as he begins issuing orders, and you hear the sound of the elevator being used as several figures are walking through the hallway, or walking through the lobby, rather, and you hear the... Yeah, it might make sense for you all to actually know what languages you all speak, because it's already been established that that one of you knows a couple of words in French, one of you fluently speaks French, and one of you doesn't speak it at all.
I took languages. I took linguistics and wrote them down.
I mean, I noticed this in chat. Joining the Sable Syndicate as equals, maybe not as trusted lieutenants. That's a distinct possibility.
Let's join as interns. That's a whole campaign in itself. You are the newest Sable interns.
She would not. I mean, she would be down, but
that's an option. The Sable do not waste talent.
Of course, but it would have to be off. But of course,
first they'd have to
judge us. You don't ask for that sort of thing. You
also first they'd have to judge us to be talented, which they don't sound super impressed so far.
In my defense, it was perfectly reasonable. Like I totally thought it like separating up. Like listen, safety in numbers, but 3 is not a very large number. In which case, I felt that, like, I think my tactics were sound. Excuse me.
It was good.
The tactics of the coterie are sound.
Yeah. Based on what we knew before.
Would much rather travel in a larger group of people armed with pointy things and guns.
Because he can afford such
security.
To each their own.
And he can afford to pay people with guns.
Yes. To be fair, I can afford to pay some people with guns, but I don't think Resources 3 means I can do it casually.
Well, Hubert doesn't do this casually either. He does this permanently.
Monsieur Hubert, in terms of the information we know, you said that some things aren't adding up. I agree. That's why we were hoping to do a little bit of investigating. If the information gathering is going well, your men will not interfere. I hope. I would hate for like some juicy bit of information to slip through because of something there.
Number one, when you use Monsieur, you use the family name afterwards and not the given name. So it will be Monsieur Fionterie.
Monsieur Fionterie.
Number one.
My apologies.
It's fine. French is clearly not your first, second, or even third language. I have a similar problem when I speak in English, occasionally.
Understood.
German, my first language, followed by French, because I grew up in a time when my home was still part of what would eventually become Germany. So, but that's just a set for etiquette for the future. Secondly,
thank you.
Hessians are very, very good at what they do. And when I say and yes, Hessians were mentioned to all of you in an earlier session. The Hessians of history were Germanic mercenaries. The Hessians of the modern knights are a subcategory of Bruja, who continue to function as mercenaries.
Makes sense.
Interesting.
Not a bloodline, but like-minded Bruja, who very much like the idea of doing jobs for money and boons, and
they're good at what they do and they like doing it.
And at the very least, from the interactions you've seen thus far, seem to like working for Hubert.
Yeah,
he pays well.
Yeah, I'm not I'm definitely not concerned about that.
The Hessians will step in only if there appears to be an issue. And if there is an issue, they will handle it with prejudice. So long as it does not break the masculinity. While technically anarchs, they understand the importance of the masquerade.
Good. I look around at the thing and I say, this building is completely secure, yes? This room.
I have double-checked the wards, and I have had an associate of mine reinforce the glyphs that ward off any Auspex intrusion.
Good. Because it is our belief that there is a possibility that a prominent figure in Paris may be involved somehow.
All right. What idiot is running a power plane now?
We only have theories yet. But here's but the thing is, guy burns down a building and kills 10 kindred. Man's got to have friends at high places. Our thought is the same person that's managed to keep this guy safe for a while, the Bruja Primogen. However, we don't have any evidence yet, and that's part of the point of this thing.
The guy's name was Thoreau Tremaine. I wrote it down.
Yes, Thoreau Tremaine is the perpetrator. However,
or so we thought at the beginning of last game.
It's believed to have set the fire.
Yes.
A moment. And he turns and begins speaking in French to Garrison.
This was hence the need for secrecy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I will admit this surprises me. Prior to my abdication of this to move into another area of expansion, Tremaine was a how do I put this? He was a firebrand without a brand.
Mm-hmm.
He had a temper and was loud, but didn't have the what is the English word? The testicles in order to actually do anything. So the fact that you are telling me that he is responsible for the murder of 10 kindred, and as Garrison's informed me, 7 of which were Markavians,
mm-hmm.
is odd.
It is. From what I heard, the man is a from what I've heard, the man is a bully who is a swaggering bully, but not someone who would like make this kind of move earlier. Be a jerk to everybody, but nothing. Yeah, be a jerk to the people that he felt he could get away with being a jerk with. But that kind of man, I've met men like that. They don't make that kind of decision unless they're absolutely certain they can get away with it. That's what makes me think that there's some kind of. That's what makes me think that this is going to extend beyond him.
When did his schlong gain 10 inches? This doesn't sound right at all.
Mm-hmm. Oh, was he not? That's what I heard from the Malkavians here. That he's been throwing his weight around. That he's recently come into a lot of money. He's been throwing his weight around and spitting on the low clans. That's what I hear.
Recently came into some money. Mm-hmm. In addition to the funds that we helped him secure.
It might be the same. It might be the same. I don't know the whole story, I admit.
This confuses and disturbs me, especially considering how the Bruja Primogen is an old acquaintance of mine. We've done business many times, and he would not have protected someone who had committed such an act in the city against Parisian kindred.
You think
he's been here since before Paris was a part of France.
You think he probably doesn't know either, and that somebody else might be involved?
That is perhaps even more distressing.
Mm-hmm.
Someone who gave Tremaine something of a backbone. That is interesting, concerning, certainly.
The bigger question is, how the hell did 10 kindred disappear from the 10 kindred disappear from the streets of Paris and nobody knows about it? Are they out of towners? Is there some reason that they were like undesirable? Were they lying low? Were they thought dead? Nothing adds up. I agree. That's part of what the whole investigation problem is.
I need a drink.
Believe me, so do I.
Steps up and he walks over to a wet bar on the side. He goes, "Are you able to consume things that are not blood?"
I do not have the blush of life merit, do I?
Well, that's a thing that you can just do by
Oh, yeah.
rolling a rouse check and making sure that you can do it if your humanity is high enough and your generation is
Oh
low
yeah.
enough.
I have humanity 7, I'm 13 generation. So the answer is yes.
Yeah. But if you have the eat food and drink merit, you can just do it without having to do blush of life. This is a merit that Hubert possesses. He can eat and drink relatively freely.
Not without well, doesn't taste as good as it used to, and I don't really, not as a habit, no.
That is perhaps because you do not possess our specs. Because when you heighten your senses, a good bottle of wine or a fine bottle of whiskey can be life-changing. Not to the extent that a mouthful of vitae can be, but... And he pulls up, he grabs this one crystal decanter and he pours out this deep, rich brown liquid, which, based on the aromas that are already coming off of it, you get the subtle notes of oak and the brown spices. And you know what? Actually, let me see if you would, because you work in the industry.
Yes, I do.
Make me this would be an intelligence. I don't see a chemistry option, just a science option. That wouldn't necessarily be right.
We could just...
Because this is business related for you, make me an intelligence finance check to see if you can identify what he's pouring. Because that might earn you brownie points if you can identify that. Or at least narrow it down somewhat.
So that's 5 successes.
Okay. With 5 successes, or watching what he pours and the faint whiffs of it you're catching, lacking the auspex capabilities of your associate, or at least not having them on if you have them, you, based on the color, it's not brandy he's pouring, it's probably a whiskey of some kind. And he takes it and he holds the rocks glass under his nose. He takes a long, deep sniff. He tilts it back and he takes a rich mouthful and he just lets it roll around for a while as he walks back to the chair.
Hadn't struck you.
Himself down.
Hadn't struck me as a whiskey man. I suppose anything can be surprising.
I enjoy many different things, but one thing that I always adhere to: if a whiskey is not old enough to drink, the whiskey is not old enough to drink.
Indeed.
And there's nothing like a 21-year-old Scotch.
Indeed.
Wouldn't it be 18 in France?
It would be, but what he had, it was a 21-year-old.
Yes. Yes.
And as somebody who does drink Scotch, there's a world of difference between 21 and 18.
Oh yes. Believe me, and I believe as someone who serves Scotch in character, I believe she knows the difference there. Indeed.
I mean, that's not Scotch you serve in character, but but it's the Scotch that she used, because again, she's a rich heiress. She is aware of what the good stuff. Right.
Oh yes, I think she sort of smiles and says, the sort of indulgence I used to well, my father drank more than my mortal father back then. But I must say that he and you have good taste. Now,
well, so let me see if I understand what we have right now as collective information.
Yes.
We are currently dealing with a Bruja kindred who is either gaining support from the outside or has somehow convinced his primogen to turn against the kindred of Paris by some means.
Either one a very disturbing possibility.
Has been murdering kindred, has gained enough of a backbone to believe that he can simply get away with this, and Also, none of the kindred who would normally feel free to speak to a representative of the Sable family about this have been coming forward to speak to the Sable family about this, though we have a long history of interaction between them all and a long history of helping to solve these problems in order to keep Paris running smoothly. And the prince has also not gotten up off of his ass to do anything.
Well, the last part seems pretty par for the course, given what I've heard of the man.
I mean, he likes to fool around, but he's always done his job.
Has he?
Unless that's something else that's changed since I abdicated. Yes, a little bit. Seriously. All right, that's it. I need to go have a word with the prince. I need to fix this shit. This is wrong. This is absolutely wrong.
To be fair, there's no direct evidence tying him to the crime yet. What we have, that's part of what we're trying to find. We have suspicion, and we have suspicion, and we have suspicion, and we have the Malkavians have ways of acquiring information that is right often enough to be worrisome.
I know. That's why we keep Malkavians on retainer.
Indeed. But direct evidence that someone high up might listen to, well, someone less enlightened might listen to, is harder to find. That's what we're trying to look into, as well as, how the hell how in God's name that this guy manages to kill 10 kindred and nobody really knows about it except via Audrey, or however you pronounce that. And more importantly than how, I think, are two more questions we need to figure out: who and why. 10 people at once like that isn't something someone does for 10 kindred isn't something some braggart does for a cheap thrill. No, he has something to gain here, or something that his new patron gains here.
This is far too over-involved and clever for the Sabbat. The Anarchs, last I checked, we were still on good terms with them. I certainly had no trouble passing through their territory to come back to Paris. This raises concerns. Many concerns. Oh, dear. Oh, mon Dieu, mon Dieu, mon Dieu. Garrison, what has gone wrong since I've left the city? Garrison starts looking a little ashamed and concerned. I don't blame you, mon ami. I don't blame you at all.
I apologize for being the bearer of all this bad news. It is not my...
I do not blame you, no. If the prince has fallen behind in his duties, that is something I blame him for. If a Primogen is actively conspiring against the city, not conspiring against the prince, that's just the thing Primogens do. But if he's actively conspiring against the city, that I have issue with. Paris may not be my home, but Paris is a city I have many fond memories of. So I take protecting this city and this nation very, very seriously. Hans, mein Freund. Jawohl, mein Herr. I think we're going to have to get you involved. How involved, Herr Fiontelli? I think I'm going to need the deluxe package. Wait. Really? And he leans in and he asks a question in German, and Hubert responds in German, which, again, theoretically you don't understand, so you can't follow the conversation. But there's a case of, well, actually, do you want to try and figure out what the conversation's about by trying to read their facial expressions, or?
Sure, I'll do that.
All right, in that case, make me a wits insight.
Wits insight. Where is my insight skill?
It is the
yes, it's quite. Oh yes, I have 6 dice in that. And I roll 4 successes.
Okay. And neither one is attempting to hide anything at this point, so...
Because they assume the American has no idea what's going on.
When you look at Hans, he has this look of, are you sure? But there's this tinge of excitement to the look on his face, like, I just want to be clear that you're saying what you're saying, right? Right? And there's a concern and disappointment to Hubert's face and voice when he gives the affirmative.
Yeah.
At which point, Hans's face goes full military blank. He stands to full attention. At which point you go, oh, he was slouching before to fit in the hallway. Because suddenly he seems to tower over you more. You're like, I know I'm sitting down, but he shouldn't feel this much taller than me. There is an audible, but loudly audible click of his heels. As he goes, oh, my God. And he turns and he walks and he opens the door. And he begins again speaking in that authoritative. Again, it's lost some of that harshness because now this is all very much that military formality to his voice. And you hear boots scrambling. You hear the sounds of heels clicking, of blades entering sheaths and firearms entering holsters.
You're certain that we aren't jumping the gun here. We are still looking into to see if we can find the full story.
Ah, I see. You don't do much business with the Hessians.
No, I do not.
The package I am requesting from them now is an increased presence for security purposes here. And involves the acquisition of more expensive personnel and equipment to ensure the stability of this establishment, and if necessary, turn them into a private arm. If necessary. It will take some time for the remaining forces to come in here, but this will not be cheap. And if it turns out to be nothing, it will be an unfortunate loss of my own personal funds because I cannot pull from the company for this. If this turns out to be a thing, then I get to write it off as a company expense. And the streets of Paris will run red again.
Well, I'm at least happy I got to see the sites before uncovering and apparently just stumbling into this vast some kind of conspiracy.
This is why I hate dealing with the fucking high clans. All of this backstabbing bullshit.
He is a high clan.
That doesn't mean he doesn't hate them.
Honestly,
you may recall Garrison voicing his own negative opinions on the rest of the Toreador. You imagine some of that coloring has come from dealing with a second to Hubert, who will deal with the high clans, but clearly doesn't much care for them. I am going to go downstairs. I'm going to go speak with my good friend Philippe. I'm going to have him put in words with the Primogen, and I'm going to start calling in aid from anyone who's still going to talk to me. Because if something needs to happen, and if someone needs to die, they are going to die. Because I'm not going to let anything happen to the city while I'm still ambulatory. I put in too much time, too much investment, and there are far too many cafes I enjoy visiting.
Oh yes, it would be a damn. Oh yes, I sampled some of what Paris had to offer earlier, and wonderful city. If there's anything I can offer that can possibly help, I would like to offer it.
That's going to depend very much on what happens next. But right now, they are going to start briefing up the security here, and the call's going to be put in for more. So there's going to be a large influx of Germans in Paris, which was not a great thing a short while ago. But thankfully, Hessians are very much professionals.
Good.
And it's not Prussian goons. Round about the times they're having this conversation, this is when a certain Malkavian has just been let off of the carriage. And you are walking in through the lobby.
Oh, wait. I'm the other one. I have to unbutton. Sorry. Now I'm in character.
Yep.
I saunter in.
From a PG to PG-13 stream. And you enter in as the elevator in the lobby dings, and
there's an 8-foot-tall Hessian.
Oh no, he's still upstairs.
Okay.
But the first wave, because only so many people fit in that elevator. But the first wave of his subordinates come out, and before anyone else can step onto that elevator, the operator closes the door and goes back up. And you watch as these 6 figures begin to disseminate themselves through the lobby.
How many of these figures have heartbeats?
Make
Oh,
me
Specs!
a
Specs!
Specs!
Perception's still a skill, isn't it? Can't remember anymore.
Oh.
No, it isn't. So that would be a wit. I guess wit's insight for this. Wit's insight or wit's survival, whichever you prefer. I hate the fact that perception's not a skill on here. It's such an obvious thing. Oh no, it would be wit's awareness, wouldn't it? Well.
Oh, that's a better roll for me.
No, then roll wit's awareness, please.
Okay. And 1 hunger die.
Because somebody didn't have a full meal.
Well, you know, we might be in a crisis.
Tummy full.
You know, if I get a chance to Diablerize a bad guy, I might take it, and then there'll be 3 of us living up here, and that'll be awesome. So that's 5 successes, including
but you won't
a 10.
Be the Archbishop of Miami, cool.
I will have to look that up later. So that's 5 successes, including a 10.
Okay. No heartbeat, no heartbeat, no heartbeat, no heartbeat, no heartbeat, no heartbeat. And then the presence kicks in.
Ooh.
As all 6 of them fire off presence.
Nice. Hello,
At this point, I need you to make me a...
Uh-oh.
What would this be? This would be a...
I forgot to add my Auspex to that roll. Not that I really needed it.
No, you don't need it, but you're going to need to make a... Call this a resolve streetwise check.
Ooh.
You know, either resolve streetwise or resolve survival. Just let me know which one you do.
I have neither streetwise or survival.
Okay.
So I guess it's just straight resolve.
It would be straight resolve then.
Uh-oh. Okay. That's 1 success.
Okay.
Did they all just dread gaze me? For drooling?
You and everyone else in here suddenly gets the compulsion to be somewhere. You watch as all of these guests slowly begin moving to the directions they need to go. Taking stairs, taking elevators. You watch as the employees tense briefly before they begin tidying up their desks very, very precisely. You feel this overwhelming urge to not be here. This is a bad place to be. You should go upstairs. Upstairs is safe. Upstairs is where you belong.
Well, I mean, I was heading for the office, so...
The elevator comes down
elevator's
again.
not here.
The elevator comes down with a second ding.
Am
Six more figures in identical suits come out.
Okay, so we're in lockdown now. Okay.
6 more pings of presence go off.
Yeah, I'm going. I'm going.
The operator sees you and urges you in quickly.
So that roll, I still wanted to get the hell out of there, but at least I know what's happening.
Oh, no, you
No?
you are getting out of there. You are aware that this is a presence effect because you're a kindred. You were not able to resist the presence effect to, I need to go now,
Okay.
now. If you had rolled high enough, you'd have been able to be like, no, calm, let's focus on this. I am not prey, I'm a predator. The thing is, you might be a predator, but you are currently in the presence of 12 alpha predators by your perspective.
Yep. And they don't want to snuggle right now.
No. I mean...
Well, priorities, I guess.
I mean, Gertruda might, but you'd need to actually, like, not have her on business right now, but yeah, no, Gertruda would totally just put Riza against the wall and have some fun.
But business first.
Oh, yeah. Well, Gertruda has more humanity than most of the other Hessians right now in this squad. Yes, I have stats for all of these Hessians. I like them.
I can tell.
Cute.
So you enter in, the doors close, and you are brought up to the 13th floor, where the doors open and you are greeted by 6 more figures who are waiting to get on. They step to the side slightly so that you can get off. The next 6 step on and go down. This is where you see a line of similarly dressed figures, some of which are still taking one last check of firearms and pointed implements of multiple kinds before sheathing and holstering them. And standing behind them at the doors to Garrison's office is this mountain of a man. If ever there was a depiction of a Germanic demigod, this was probably it.
Did I pack my climbing gear? I don't know.
Yeah, just imagine Beowulf in a suit.
Imagine Beowulf
Thor in a suit.
Offspring.
Yes.
Or, get a Fenris in a suit, unless that's not allowed in V5.
Well, the werewolf book isn't out yet, so we don't know.
Okay. Anyway,
yeah. So he turns to look at you as you approach. Wie geht's, Fraulein? I believe they're expecting you inside. And he opens the door for you, allowing you to step in. Where you now see...
she doesn't speak.
Sitting there is Isabel, Garrison, and another man you don't recognize sitting in Garrison's chair.
But he's sexy.
Oh, he's sexy. He's very handsome.
Oh.
One look at him is a good... You can tell Garrison emulated a lot of his style off of the man in this chair.
Isabel rises to her feet and says, I told you she would be fine. I have the utmost confidence in my coterie.
Oh, hello, sweetie.
He
so
stands
what's all
up
this about?
He stands up from behind the desk.
So, I see we've gone into lockdown.
Beginning that, we are calling in additional forces in order to secure this and make this an operating point going forward, since things seem to be escalating beyond an acceptable point.
That they are, and not quite in the direction we thought they... Well, not from the origin we were expecting them to escalate from.
What have we learned? Have we learned Monsieur Tremaine's benefactor?
I don't think this is Monsieur Tremaine.
You think he's been framed, or there's some kind of red herring here?
I think that given his proclivities to be an asshole to the lower clans, when it was assumed he just burned down a when it was known that a Malkavian haven burnt down and some human bodies pulled out, everyone assumed he was behind it because of his general nature. But things are a bit more complicated, and I think a bit beyond his skill level. I mean, he may still be involved, but I'm not not. Mm-mm. I don't think I've had the pleasure,
think the
monsieur.
Oh, sorry.
I don't think I've had the pleasure, monsieur.
Why am I feeling
Apologies.
jealous for some reason?
Je suis Hubert Fiantelli, former overseer of the Parisian branch, currently stationed in Alsace, overseeing some wine developments. But I have been called back because of issues that required reinforcement. And this is an associate of mine named Hans Koenig of the Hessians.
Oh, you do go old school.
If you want good military service, there are few places that a kindred can go to other than the Hessians of Clan Bruja. They are not cheap, but they are the best.
Well, I mean, that's quality.
Dankeschön, mein Herr. Keep proving me right, and I will keep heaping you praise and coin.
I mean, quality costs.
It does. And it's going to cost me very much going forward.
Charisse is just beaming at all of the sexy people in this room and just gently sits Isabel back down and pats her on the head.
Actually,
in a caressy kind of way, huh?
Do you just have your heightened senses up, or do you have your Scry the Soul ability?
Oh, just compulsive heightened senses, but Scry the Soul is more. I think I have to do a rouse or whatever. It's compulsive heightened senses.
No, I just wanted to double check. So he takes the seat behind the desk again, and when he sits behind the desk, you sit down and go, "Oh, that chair was custom made for his butt." Like, Garrison has close to the same frame and build as him, but something about when Hubert sits in it, the chair looks like it fits him better. Like the chair was tailored to him, so it looks good in someone of a similar size, but it looks perfect on him.
Well, I mean, he said he had taken over this branch, and that did he mention Hubert by name?
He did not.
Yeah, so this...
He did not mention Hubert by name, no. But Hubert did just mention he was Garrison's predecessor, so...
Yeah. Garrison is the VP. The Prez just showed up. The CEO just showed up.
Or at least the district head.
Yeah. Yeah, Charisse just remains standing and is just sort of gently stroking Isabel's head.
Is there anything else that you learned that you would be able to provide us with information on then, madame?
Refresh my memory, GM, because it's been 2 weeks out of character, but like 20 minutes in character. Was I sworn to secrecy about any of this, or was it like, any resources you have, please use them?
You weren't sworn to secrecy per se, but you get the impression that blabbing it to the wrong people would potentially result in a very angry primogen or two. But you don't know if Hubert is the wrong person to open up to. You know that Garrison was openly disturbed that people weren't opening up to him.
Garrison can keep secrets.
He assures, if it helps, if it helps, the gentleman tells me that that this room is perfectly secure and no information should leave that we don't want to. Yes.
All right. So, good news is your Hessian friends won't have to hunt down a fellow clan member, as far as I can tell, because I don't think what's his name, Nouveau Riche, is actually involved. He's just not even a planned red herring, just everyone assumed the jerk did it.
Well, that does sound somewhat more appropriate. And what evidence do you have in regards to that?
Well, I think one of the perpetrators made themselves visually known to me in a kind of in a rather power move kind of way. When I was looking into the wrong dark corner, they made themselves known in order to gloat at me later.
And you're all right.
Oh, she took something from me. Unfortunately, your employees wouldn't have been in a place to prevent it because it was somewhat metaphysical level, which is what makes it all the more disturbing. Sorry, boys, but I don't think this is the wrong direction. Per se, I don't know how much is going on, but
When you say metaphysical, were they making use of thaumaturgy? Were they making use of auspex? Were they making use of mage disciplines? Was this a kindred infestation, or is this outside of that realm?
I'm definitely getting a kindred vibe from the madame. Definitely some kind of blood sorcery, but not one I'm familiar with. And possibly stupidly high levels of auspex.
Hans, jawohl. I need the Valkyrie package. You think you need the Valkyrie? I think we're going to need the Valkyrie.
Do I recognize this word?
It's Valkyrie.
Oh, Valkyrie.
Yeah, Valkyrie is Valkyrie.
Yeah.
I know that one. I've seen the Ring of the Nibelungen. Wait, is that out yet? Actually, that might not be out yet. What year is Wagner? I need to look this up now immediately.
Earlier than we're at, and besides
Cool,
that, it's folkloric, so it's older.
Yeah, I know that. Isabel would know it from because it's a big sophisticated opera thing that she wouldn't have seen when she was alive.
I would like to keep role playing, please.
Sorry.
So, Monsieur Fonterey, I've shown my ass to the bad guy, so to speak, so... But other than that, it seems that this situation has been, some kind of an extended stealth plot. Long game and very sneaky. Thus, going at it with, an outright brute squad with a battering ram may not be the best way to proceed. It seems like this is something that most of Paris isn't aware is even happening.
Oui, that's why I'm requesting the Valkyrie package. It's an elite team of thaumaturgists within the Hessians.
Oh.
So if there is someone using blood sorcery here involved, I'm going to rely on blood sorcerers that I can trust are going to do the job efficiently and, if necessary, violently.
But yes, so... Does what I'm gonna say stay in this room? Because I, for one, think you can help. But like I said, we gotta be sneaky, at least for now, until they show their hand. Because this strikes me as a long game.
I have a terrible feeling everything you're going to tell me is going to make me want to request another package from the Hessians. Hans takes a step on behind.
I mean, if you want...
Until the opposite side of Garrison, and he goes, honestly, I'm starting to be concerned he's ordering so many packages from us.
I mean, if you want to give me a list, I mean, I could just do it for you. I can do a little secretarial here and there.
I'll bear that in mind. I could always do with another lovely secretary. But please, tell me, what else have you uncovered?
I have to say my better half is much better at taking notes than me. So, 7 Malkavians were brutally killed in flame. 7 kindred of unknown clan, and no one noticed. The theory is that they were replaced.
Replaced?
What?
Is that possible?
I have no idea, but there's also unknown blood sorcery at play, so anything's possible.
Is that something that some clans can do? Like, kill and replace someone without...
I mean, we are from Boston. We have a Shemisi in the local court. However, this... I wouldn't be so bold as to assume the Sabbat can't do long game. But
they
in-
usually don't do long
usually
game.
don't. But I can't help but wonder if that's, a smokescreen for the ones that actually are playing long game. But so it was brought up, could the dead kindred have been Sabbat or Anarchs? But it's like you have good relations with the Anarchs, and if someone had smoked out an S to Sabbat, they'd be crowing about it.
So Garrison at this point is staring at you wide-eyed and slack-jawed.
Yep.
Hubert's his hands are over his face.
Hence the need for discretion. Because...
And Hans is looking between you and Hubert at this moment.
Hence the need for discretion, because if we can figure out which ones are the doppelgangers, then maybe we can follow them to whatever the hell the spider at the center of this web is.
That would be another reason to get the Valkyries.
And I was initially a little strange about bringing in a bunch of Germans in here, but now I'm very happy that they are not that our new company is not Parisian locals.
Quite possibly.
Hans, when you call for the Valkyries, tell them to bring the Grendels, please.
Ooh, I am so curious about
What is
all this organization. When all this is over, I have so many questions. Or I probably can't afford.
Does Riza speak German?
No.
Okay.
Grendel refers to the
I read Beowulf.
Okay,
sweetie.
sorry.
I read books, sweetie.
So there is, I'm not even going to make you roll insight for this one, because this is when Hans leans over and there is serious concern on his face.
Yeah, you don't name a crew Grendel. Yeah, she's like,
And he looks at them and he starts speaking in German, and Hubert responds in German, and Hans goes, Jawohl, jawohl, mein Herr. Mein Herr, and begins speaking in German, asking him a question again. And he goes, Ja. Do it. All of it. Jawohl, mein Herr. I will have things expedited immediately. And he steps outside, and the doors are closed behind him. And you hear him requesting some of the secretaries that were outside the door to come over because he needs to place some calls.
I mean, if you have a sketch artist, I did get something of a look at the woman taunting me. And some of the runes
taunting you?
Some of the runes carved into her flesh.
The what?
Yep. She's hardcore. Blood sorceress nonsense.
Jarrison, do me a favor. Go get Vivian and have her come in here and tell her that her
Who's Vivian?
Her talents are required. Vivian is another toreador with which I am acquainted. She is she still is a resident here. She is good. Get Vivian, please. She is an artist. She has lost some of the spark after becoming a toreador, as do we all. But her talent is still quite significant, and while she cannot necessarily create things new, she should be able to recreate what it is you speak to her.
That's useful.
So,
at around this time, Vern, you and Philippe are running through the tunnels underneath the city. And there are Nosferatu coming up trying to get his attention, and he is barking back at them in French. And there are looks of confusion from some, look of concern from the other, and you hear several Nosferatu scrambling either behind you or running through the tunnels, and you hear their voices echoing out, saying something similar to what he did as he hurries with you down the tunnels until they reach the elevator. He begins slamming on the button down there. And it takes a little bit longer than you're accustomed to before the elevator descends. And the attendant opens the door. You're just in time. Please, quickly.
I think it's funny if as they come in, Charisse is saying, so if this is all conspiracy mode and they're keeping everything under wraps, I think maybe we should just start a conspiracy of our own until they start hunting Kindred openly.
So,
and then they run in.
So,
What?
Philippe pushes you inside, and he goes, "Tell them everything we discussed. Tell them everything you saw. I'm going to gather up every Nosferatu in the city. I'm going to speak to the Primogen. We need to get everything organized. This is a serious concern."
Okay.
And I'll keep quiet about that other thing, but you may want to lay low or get out of Paris sooner rather than later, because if people start to notice, questions will be asked. I'll vouch for you if they give me the opportunity, but...
Okay.
Right. Go, mon ami, go.
Yay, Philippe!
And you begin to ascend, and as you pass through the lobby is more or less devoid of people other than the attendants, who are all currently behind their desks or standing very firmly in position. And you see about 24 figures in dark suits filling out the lobby. And even before you get there, you feel... Actually, you would need to make this as well. So make me a resolve... Yeah, and this would probably be like either a resolve streetwise or a resolve survival check.
Roll a freaked out check.
Yeah, kind of. As you're getting 24 pings of presence telling you you need to be somewhere else right now.
Let's resolve what?
Resolve plus either survival or streetwise.
All right.
Just let me know
Better
which.
at streetwise.
All right.
Not so good. One success.
As you're ascending and eventually about to hit the lobby, passing through the basement level, you get that feeling you get when you're walking through like a bad neighborhood when it's dark out, and you just get this feeling like, I might be in danger. I should probably be somewhere else. You get that hard. And as you're coming up,
danger.
you see these figures all standing around here. And now that the lobby is cleared and the doors are locked, they are not holstering or sheathing their weapons anymore. So you see 24 people armed with a firearm or bladed weapon of some kind, currently in strategic positions for defensive purposes in the lobby.
I'm gonna look at the elevator attendant and just go like, what did I miss?
You missed a bunch of pissed off Germans that are here to protect an investment.
Okay.
Oh, just wait, you're going to meet the next batch that has to come down. As you...
Okay.
On the 13th floor, and there are more of them waiting to come down. And they make way for you to get out. And as soon as you exit, they walk in. And you see behind the desks where you would normally see the 4 secretaries, only one of them, and this massive figure on what almost looks like a comically tiny telephone in his giant hands. Does Vern speak German?
I'm gonna go with yeah. I got German, but not French.
Okay.
To
So
make Isabel learn a language because she's clearly behind.
So as you're walking up at this point, as the next batch go in and go down, you hear this figure speaking, going, yes, we need it all. We need regular reinforcements. We need Valkyrie unit. We need Grendel unit. We need the Grenadier unit. We need... Look, the long and short of it is this is bad. This is really bad. This is potential city killer bad. We need everything. We need the big guns. I hate to say it, but you might need to pull them out of storage. You might need to get the torpered. I'm not saying we need to release them yet, but you might need to be ready to de-stake and feed them. Because
Naughty boys on standby.
Because we might need the attack dogs. Yeah, it's that bad, yes. And he looks up and he looks at you and he just starts waving you over. Yeah. Yeah. Do me a favor. Reach out to our gangrel cousins. Tell them we might need some We need some proper hunting dogs to go alongside the in-house attack dogs. Yeah. See if they can talk to any of the French gangrel to get them on our side too, as they pass through Anarch territory.
And Reese is still saying, like, so I think we should just go along with the quiet, skullduggery, sneaky investigation until they show their hand.
Which is about the time the doors open and Vern bursts in.
And Vern's all beat up too, right?
Oh yeah.
Vern, are you okay?
Yeah.
There's bits of glass still stuck in his clothing.
Well,
Isabel just rushes over him and just says, "Are you okay? What happened?"
Fine, I'm fine.
Are you sure?
Holy crap. I see you all understand that this is bad, but this is bad.
Yeah, I apparently just learned that apparently the reason that no one found the 10 people is because they were killed and replaced with identical duplicates.
Okay.
So I'm not sure how it could get worse than that, but I'm really, but given how you seem like things didn't go well.
Vern, whose ass did you kick? And what did they do to deserve it?
It was some kindred masquerading as a hunter who tried to kill me. And Philippe.
Oh,
so there weren't hunters here. It was just... Oh, that's worse somehow.
Wanted us to believe there were.
Kindred posing as... There were hunters in the city? Or Kindred posing as hunter? What Kindred poses as a hunter? As you see this figure I've never seen before, sitting in Garrison's chair, suddenly very confused, asking this question.
Something worse than
I'm just rolling with that. That's not even like gonna phase me at this point. There's so much been going on in this building while I was gone.
I wonder if this specifies that whatever we're dealing with is actually worse than a hunter. Which is
it is. I'm not done yet.
Oh, what else, dear?
So after the hunter was out of the picture, someone else showed up to taunt me, basically, and I will say, as the player, I am a little bit foggy on what all happened and how to pronounce the name of that guy.
The title is pronounced Koenigmacher.
Koenigmacher. Okay.
Wait. We have a... Wait.
So,
no,
if you say Koenigmacher...
Yeah.
You watch Hubert's hand fall away from his face.
Yeah. So I'm gonna say it like, you guys who are in my coterie, remember that letter that was found in the warehouse back in Boston? You know, the one from Koenigmacher?
I wasn't there.
Motherfucker showed up.
Garrison is you hear the sound of the telephone drop outside the still open door as Hans leans in going, "Was?
The shadow? The shadow! The shadow!"
What is the Koenigmacher?
3,000-year-old legend. I've heard conflicting accounts at this point.
Yes, the Koenigmacher is a myth within kindred society. They are, as the name suggests, a kingmaker. Supposedly, they are behind the installation and downfall of so many princes and barons, and if one is to believe it,
the prince has
bishops over the course of the millennia, that they are a figure of they're a myth. Everyone believes that the Koenigmacher is some kindred or another. You're saying you encountered the Koenigmacher and you're still alive?
Someone claiming to be using that name showed up full villain slow clap and everything, and then just basically said, "Glad to see you're playing the game now," and left.
Well, that's a power move.
Well, if someone's coming in claiming to be some kind of ancient kingmaker...
That's the thing, though. No offense, but the Prince of Paris doesn't sound all that formidable of an opponent. If someone wanted to kick him over, that wouldn't take this.
The thing is, he should be. Okay, something is very, very wrong here, and I think I'm going to have an aneurysm. Here's what's going to happen. Garrison, you're going to be placed in charge here, and you're going to maintain everything as normal. Hans, have everyone doing everything they can. Please make sure that everyone who I've hired gets here faster. I will pay them double if they triple time it. I will triple it if they quadruple time it. I don't care if it leaves me destitute. I want them here because this is becoming a bigger problem than I was originally led to believe. After which, Hans, I'm going to need you to grab together the personal security detail. We're going to go speak to the prince, and we're going to sort out some of this sooner rather than later, if you would be so kind. You're all in here. And this, again, beast of a man is suddenly very concerned.
He's shook.
Oh, yes.
The mountain is shook.
Garrison, go, you didn't leave to get to the team yet. Please go get to the team.
Is anyone else struck by the irony that this was supposed to be like a stopover trip? Like, this was just supposed to be
we were
hanging out and
Oh,
then
yeah.
go to
Yeah, we were on our
Vienna?
way. How did we just accident?
How?
We really did just sort of I mean,
My only
honestly,
hope is that we kicked the hornet's nest in time for y'all to do something about it. And that we're not implicated.
I mean,
well,
you could have gotten involved sooner, but you all wanted to get out of London too quick.
Well,
That's
you
because
know-
London was scary.
Yeah, London was fucked up.
you didn't give us reasons to stay in London.
Yeah.
Well, that's never stopped anyone from wanting to do us something. GMs give warnings all the time that the players ignore.
Well, yeah, but then we actually met
Certainly.
Gilgamesh, and we're like, you know...
I wanted to meet more of Gilgamesh, but
this-
as a player, I want to like hear your take on like Gilgamesh the character, but I can't.
I mean,
But
at
the
this
problem
point, you could always just ask him to come since he's heard you call before.
Yeah, apparently when I say
Gilgamesh!
Gilgamesh, he shows up sometimes.
I mean,
Anyway,
it only works when he's close enough. He happened to have been in London at the time when you mentioned it.
It was just a
Anyway.
coincidence.
our break timer just went off. So
Oh,
just
well.
This
table this
seems
and
like as
digest
good a
rumor.
point as any for it to cut to a commercial break anyhow.
Okay, chat. So this is where we take a 10-minute break. Go get you a drink and some ramen. Spend channel points. You can buy the player's stuff and you can buy the GM stuff. Just look at the channel points, it's there. Because we use that instead of cash, because we want you to keep your money and use it to survive in the current real-life apocalyptic hellscape we live in. Yay! But yeah, so everyone digest the info dumps, and we will see you in 10. Bye!
All right.
Hooray, chat! We are back. I actually set the 10-minute alarm on time. So we have more time.
We were all ready.
Yeah. And so we have more time tonight to watch Paris fall utterly apart at our hands and through our own actions when it was supposed to be a stopover. A 5-hour stopover between London and Vienna. Oh no, well, not 5 hours. But...
A little more than that. Maybe 5 days.
Anyway, this is Magic Fish Radio. We do TTRPG streams on Tuesdays and Saturdays. Tonight is Tuesday, so we are playing Vampire the Masquerade V5 set in the roaring 1920s called Eldritch Adversaries, and you know, we were just visiting Paris again for fun and seem to have stumbled into a world-breaking plot. Whoops.
Oh, it gets worse from here.
We're
As it should, quite
Conan-
frankly.
Yeah. Koenigmacher himself showed up as Vern put it in evil villain mode with the full slow clap and oh, you're playing the game now.
Like,
And
who fucking does that?
Koenigmacher does.
Some guy who calls himself Koenigmacher does that.
Anyway, we allow for chat to, or we encourage chat to buy buffs and nerfs for the players and the GM.
Yeah, I
and
actually made a mistake there. I didn't mean to buy one for myself, but I clicked on that by accident and wasn't paying attention.
I mean, the players buy them for ourselves all the time.
It's fair.
If they're
I mean,
if they're
you do it
watching
on
the
purpose.
channel, I'm cool with it. That's fine.
Yeah.
Do you want me
I
to
do
count that as a player plus one instead? Because I could.
Yeah, if you don't mind, just make that one
Okay.
a second player plus one in that batch, the one willpower and the one bestial failure domestic critical. Because
I think we're
Yeah.
gonna need them. Yay!
rounds me down to an even 17,000.
I have 71.1k.
Well, you've been doing this a lot longer than I have.
Yep, so we've been around 2 years. We do this on Tuesdays, which is a more recent event, and it's been very fun. For the
Thank you.
past almost 2 years, we've been doing N-Wad in Space on Saturdays called Exit to Eden. Go to our Discord, go to our YouTube page. We have all the VODs. We do fun, ridiculous things here. We are not super serious. We are not strict about book canon, which is probably why we don't have a bigger audience despite running one of what is today one of the most popular new TTRPGs out there. Whoops. But we would like to have fun. And
Yes.
fun first, grimdark second, and, well, I guess that's just...
And sometimes Grimdark gives you all the fun you really need. Because what could
That's
be
true.
more fun than cannibalism?
Yeah.
Yes.
Right?
Please diablerize responsibly. See last episode. And maybe this one. We'll see. So yeah, back to the action. We were all in the boardroom with Hubert Fonterry, the CEO of this weird Toreador multicorp that just has all the nice things and can afford all the nice things and the best security, and we all would like to intern for them in Next Chronicle.
To be perfectly honest, we can afford the nice things because we screw over the rich.
Ooh!
Good.
The rich. I like them more and more.
If you wish to ask about that, there will be time for that. But in the meanwhile, so once Garrison and Hans have both left the
Meanwhile,
room,
we had just accidentally kicked off war in France. Woohoo! Just like Dark Ages! Milk
Alright.
Life!
I would like to ask the three of you to do me a favor, since you have efficiently brought me more information than I originally had and have caused me to have to now prepare more resources than I'd originally thought I would need and did not think to bring with me.
Of course.
I would like for the three of you to confirm for me whether or not the perceived red herring is actually a red herring. Because I'm going to have people dealing with all of these other avenues. And if it turns out Tremaine is part of this, I want him dealt with, or at least knowledge that he must be dealt with.
From what I've gathered from other Malkavians, it's just been the general rumor that they all thought it was just a house fire triggered by another just basically, I burned down your haven because I can. He hasn't claimed credit for it, and apparently none of the evidence leads towards him, but it's like, but we know he did it, but now all of this is happening, and I just don't... Like, it's possible, but I'd say it's an outside chance. Like,
I understand.
We can still
at the
bug
same-
him if you want.
At the same time, with everything that you have just told me, I wish to leave nothing else to chance. And all the resources that I'm currently calling in are going to be very, very preoccupied. So, after you have given the description of this woman who stole from you to Vivienne so that we have an idea of who to look for, I'm going to ask you to do me a favor. And he grabs a sheet of paper and begins writing out something on it. Normally, I would create some bullshit phrase and leave this sitting out here to cover my ass, because this would technically count as a betrayal of contract. But at this point, I don't give a shit anymore. This is the address of the haven of Tremaine Terreau, and the location of the resources that were helped established by him by the Sable cartel when I was here running the branch in Paris. If he is guilty, evidence will likely be here. Please gather this evidence and bring it back to me. Because if he is guilty, I would like to have that settled. If he is innocent, he's innocent, and that's fine. He's just an asshole. Fine. But if he is involved in this, if he is suddenly feeling very, very secure in himself because he is associated with people that are putting faces on kindred, of deceased kindred, I want to see him hanging by his own intestines.
There is another possibility, given that line of logic. What if it's not Monsieur whatever his name. What is his name again? Just
Thoreau Tremaine.
Thoreau
Thoreau
Tremaine.
Tremaine. Let me write that down again. It might not be him anymore, and they might be waiting for
Oh.
us.
Oh shit.
I
Then-
mean, who easier to masquerade as than a moron?
All the more reason why I need evidence. And all the more reason why I want this handled. The three of you have proved exceedingly competent. And if you successfully pull this off, not only will the cartel be indebted to you, I will be indebted to you. And I always pay my boons.
Oh, then this is a very lucrative offer.
I'm asking you to do something very concerning and potentially dangerous, so it should be lucrative.
Just think, Isabel, what you could do with some new Hessian friends in Vienna.
Indeed.
That's a deal
If-
you have to make with the Hessians. I pay them, don't own them.
True. Understood.
Still useful to know that they're around. There is
All right.
strange business with my immortal bloodline, I suppose.
If what you require is the access to some Hessians, I can pay into the Österreich Blanche and get them on ready and waiting for your arrival.
Oh.
Well, perhaps, but first we need to learn what exactly is going on. But apparently, this is unrelated to any of that, and I would hate to push you off track when we're just
We think
this
it's
kind of mess.
unrelated, but
Guess we'll find out.
we thought this was going to be a stopover, so shows what we know about what we're about to stumble into. All right, so you want us to gather information on Monsieur Tremaine and figure out if he's dirty or just stupid.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Well, there is one thing I could do, and you see Isabel put on like just the most plastered on, just like this plastered on smile, saying, "No, really, that's fascinating. Tell me again how you've gotten all of this stuff." And she just and then she makes a face and says, "Listen, if he wants to be hobnobbing it around with the high clans, maybe some younger impressionable Vantru is someone that he might. If the problem is that only works if it's really him. If it's not really him, that won't work."
I will say this. If he is still himself, that at this point in the evening, he will most likely not be in his haven.
Also, you
there we
don't
go.
you don't just walk up to someone's haven uninvited. That's just bad manners.
Oh,
unless
It's
you
also
want to
suspicious as shit.
I mean, unless you want to say you are some kind of a hired Vantru for his pleasure. But even that would be a little odd. I mean,
Yeah,
funny
normally they would
idea.
hire Toreador for that.
Anyway, so
is he known? But however, is he known to bring paramours back to the hotel or something like that?
oh, not this hotel, sweetie.
No, his
he
haven.
is a figure who has lost his taste for those particular physical activities.
Good to know. I wasn't. Yeah,
Sucks be him.
all I know.
I happen to agree, but there are not many kindred that are able to maintain a fascination or pleasure with the act of intimacy.
Even in Paris, that's the most
Regard-
disturbing thing I've heard all night.
The Brewer
Regardless-
have difficulty with this sometimes. Toreador, never.
Well, I do. Well, Vern getting in shouldn't be like the hardest thing in the world. The question is for the two of us. Now, I do have my ways, but I don't know what kind of resistance I would expect. What kind of people we should expect to see when he's out doing whatever he is doing.
Well, he's a brewhouse who probably has a dog.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah, I like
People.
dogs.
Well, it's unfortunate because people are much easier to get past than dogs, in my
Yeah,
experience.
he is not a dog person, I'll tell you that.
Oh, all right.
If he has dogs, then he is definitely no longer from into the role.
Good to know. Oh, good.
Hates
because-
dogs. Okay.
Because listen, I'm not great with dogs. People, on the other hand, that's
Assuming that security hasn't changed that much, there should be about a half dozen ghouls.
Oh.
Assuming things haven't changed much, but apparently things have changed quite a bit since the last time I was here, so.
Well, Vern, I think the two of us can get ourselves through there.
All right.
Mhm.
Do you want me to be lookout outside?
Perhaps yes, actually, because if you could get a single whiff that the master's coming home to roost, well, maybe we should probably get our way out of there as soon as possible.
Question. Cloak of Shadows. Is that I have to stand still and I'm invisible, or I can move? Wait, I have the book. I just bring up the book.
Cloak of Shadows was a Auspex ability.
Obfuscate.
Obfuscate.
Milk life. Woohoo!
That's blood sorcery rituals. That doesn't help me.
I'm pretty
Protean.
sure it'd be if Obfuscate were blood sorcery, it would be a lot more interesting. Just saying.
Cloak of Shadows, level 1. Follow the general rules for Obfuscate. The effect lasts until the user moves or they are detected by other means. So yes, so long as you are standing still, you are invisible.
Okay.
You can hide yourself as well.
Still better for lookout than for stealthing through a place. However, I do tend to be better at uncovering secrets than most people.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not sure what would happen to you two on your own in there. Especially if there's blood sorcery nonsense going on.
Mm-hmm.
And I can also talk my way through a situation.
Mm-hmm.
So I think Monsieur Fonterry we will excuse ourselves and come up with a plan for possibly walking into a trap. I don't know.
When you are finished, go downstairs. My driver Conrad will take you where you need to go.
Merci.
I had one more thing I needed to tell you that I skipped over in my excitement there. Philippe is gathering the Nos and going to speak to the Primogen. I expect you'll hear from him again soon.
Excellent, because I was going to go down to have a speak with them anyway.
So, whoever this is has been picking off Nosferatu as well.
Well, if it's all connected, then yeah.
It's right about this point that Garrison returns with another woman. Her hair is cut very, very short. She has very, very defined cheekbones, but is otherwise just straight lines from the neck down. It is kind of unsettling to look at. There are people that find that attractive, but it's possibly a side effect of the starving artist thing before being embraced. Who knows?
Right. She's a kindred, not a ghoul.
Yeah. And she comes in, she nods to Hubert, and Hubert nods back. And please, if you would describe to Vivienne the individual which we should be keeping an eye out for and should have the Valkyries preparing to counter the blood sorcery of.
All right. I didn't get a good look at her face because she's wearing a very wide-brimmed hat.
Mm-hmm.
And she starts just describing what I wrote down last week. Eyes narrower than mine, lips fuller, skin maybe darker.
Mm-hmm.
Lacy dress collar, off the shoulder, wide brim hat. And she's just, she'll describe the figure as best she can.
Mm-hmm.
And then also the runes on her neck.
Okay.
Now this is where it gets a little strange.
All right, Vivian will ask you comments here and there about cuts of hat, this, that, the other, as she's going through to make sure she gets things. Every so often she'll turn around like this, like
a bit more
this.
like that, and a bit more like
that. Yeah. Like a police sketch, but much better looking. She's very good.
Crafts 5, I assume.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Crafts 5 minimum.
Specialization. Crafts 5 with specialization.
Yep.
And then you start to describe the markings around the neck. Vern, These sound familiar to you.
I just remembered I'm carrying that. As Charisse starts describing those things, I pull out a arrow that seems to have these markings on it.
Oh!
One of the crossbow bolts.
All right, they were
That's
all.
do you remember those from?
They're also
When they
on.
start showing the symbols on the neck, you start remembering when they started showing up on that kindred's face when he stopped to be a hunter. When the tear started forming sigils all over his face and neck.
I'm gonna cover up my shock at recognition there.
If you're actively going to try covering that up, then make me a composure subterfuge check.
Oh boy. 3 successes.
Okay.
It's not bad. I'm in a room full of much more powerful people, though.
A room full of social primaries.
Yeah.
And at least one of them has auspex and is looking at the three of you the whole time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Tory life, baby.
I've done that. Yeah.
So, Hubert's been watching the three of you have been describing this, and Vern, as you think of like, okay, I hit that. You turn and make eye contact with Hubert as he's just staring at you with this look of something to share, but he says nothing. He just keeps staring. But you get the impression it's like, I didn't hide that as well as I thought. Because the DC for keeping it from him was much higher than 3.
Yeah, not shocking.
Yeah. I'm going to tell you right now, to have hidden it from him without it being an opposed roll, just to passively avoid being caught by him, would have been at least DC 5.
Yeah. It's fine. Honestly, like, Vern's an idiot. So he catches this look, and he just gets this, like, oh shit, and starts to stammer out, looking back at the sketch, like, the guy who is pretending to be a hunter got those on his face too.
What are they?
So
Anyway?
at least those two are connected then.
Yes.
And
Alright.
if the individual identifying himself as Koenigmacher was present when you eliminated this false hunter, that suggests that this woman is involved with Koenigmacher as well.
I mean, but he didn't attack you, Vern, so maybe he's just letting his pawns kill each other. I don't know. This is all a little above my pay grade. Oh, they also had runes like this inscribed on a bullet. That did a lot.
Crossbow bolts.
Yeah. So whatever this bullshit, this blood sorcery bullshit is, they're putting on weapons too, and it makes them a bit more effective.
If you leave some of those here, I will have the Valkyries look at them the instant they're in town.
I will leave a couple of them then. I will leave a couple of them then.
Okay.
Set a couple on the desk.
Do you leave any of the other things behind, like the knife that burst into white fire? Or do you
know, I'm gonna keep that one to myself.
You diablerized him, you get his stuff. That's the rules.
You kill it, you buy it.
No, I'm just an idiot.
You bleed on it, it's yours. That's Kruak. Wait, Kruak is... and what? Anyway.
I got 20 experience points off of that. I earned this knife.
I think I'm also not, like, actively thinking about that specifically at the moment. That Charisse is talking about the bullets, so I think about the crossbow bolts. No one's bringing up the knife, so I'm not thinking about it.
It's like, besides, who doesn't want a knife that bursts into white fire when it stabs a kindred that might be trying to kill you?
Right? I'm gonna go walk into a kindred lair. If it's a little painful to hold, like, the trade-off is fantastic.
But then if you kill them first, you can't diablerize anyone else.
No one said anything about killing them first.
But if you put them into torpor first...
Exactly.
Besides, these are just ghouls. No harm killing ghouls. It's just
Fine.
a snack.
I'd say he's tasted blood and wants more, but I mean, duh, we all did that.
Yeah.
I mean, that's,
So,
you know.
once that's done, that's going to be disseminated amongst the forces to keep an eye out. Garrison takes his chair back.
I'm gonna ask Garrison Hubert, like, I didn't get a great look at her face, but does that look like anyone you know from the annals of Parisian court life?
No.
Hmm.
And the breasts are too big to have been that woman I met at the on the Isle of Sardinia. So, not anyone I know, as far as I'm aware.
All right. Well, let's go plan an infiltration, I guess. Hopefully just that.
Make it metal. Right, so he excuses himself to do his thing. Garrison starts coordinating things, and you three are allowed to return to your chambers. Or at least to one of your chambers, I assume, because it'll be difficult to speak from your 3 different rooms to each other.
Whose room had the murder board, or had the conspiracy board? This is
I mean, that was burned. Yeah.
So we go to that and we start moving some of the things around. It's like, meh.
Add a new tag. Imposters. Flesh crafting. Assassin. Vampire trying to make people think there's a hunter here.
Koenigmacher. Oh.
Koenigmacher? Question mark? Charmaine Thoreau. Patsy. Conspirator. Douchebag?
Definitely douchebag.
No.
We know that
question
much.
Mark, question mark, exclamation point.
All right, so...
All right, kids, what are we gonna do?
Well, I feel like getting in, I don't think should be, given our skills, I don't think getting in is going to be too much of a problem. I can just, if I can't just charm the people out front, I can always just, tell them to forget about this.
All right. Said, half a dozen ghouls. I mean, that security could also be household staff.
Mm-hmm. Honestly, really, the trick is just convincing them. The easiest part is if we could convince them that we are somehow supposed to, at least that I'm supposed to be here. That shouldn't be too bad for me, but...
Well, just to warn you, sweetie, sometimes ghouls pick up a few tricks. Especially the ones that survive their initial employment tasks.
Indeed.
So this might not be as easy as mundane mortals you've hoodwinked over the years.
Perhaps not, but it's
I'm
what I
not
have.
saying don't do it, but it's just might
what
not
I
be
have.
as easy as you used to.
Well, it's what I have. I do not have. Look, I'm a business person.
Mm-hmm.
My skill. It's not exactly often that I have to go into and infiltrate a house. It's just not.
All right, so
if it's something that I can't get, if it's a problem I can't talk my way past, or just convince these people that no, or just convince, or sometimes just tell people no, I'm supposed to be here. Don't worry about me. I don't have much else I can do.
My other half described what happened the last time she did this before trying to sneak into somebody's house. What? That's a noise. Oh, thank you for the follow, Nomadal? I don't know. Also, thank you for the follow, Morningwood, might be joining us next week. I'm sure your character will be so happy that Paris is full of Germans. German soldiers. Yay. Anyway,
mercenaries.
We'll get to that next week.
Is that actually better?
I mean, these mercenaries are being paid for by a Frenchman?
True.
Because the Germans make better soldiers. Okay.
The French soldier could not march more than half a mile before collapsing. As German scientists have proven, the overconsumption of champagne shrank the Achilles tendon.
Goodness gracious.
Yeah.
All right.
Hogan's Heroes reference. It's a deep
Oh,
cut. A deep cut.
I'm only aware of Hogan's Heroes insofar as they mention it on Caucasia, which I have the misfortune to have actually seen.
It's about as deep a cut as you're about to receive in this infiltration. I mean, what?
Oh.
Yes, this character is not specialized for this situation, but well, I have.
Mine is.
Yes, yours is. Well, I have 3 ranks in Dominate and 3 ranks in Presence. That should help,
So
right?
GM, I would like to use Premonition again.
Okay.
Says the user can also actively provoke a premonition by focusing on a subject. Do I have to know what he looks like? So like if I just do a general, is this a trap or is this just a normal haven kind of focus premonition, it's free? If I'm focusing on this dude in particular, it requires a rouse check.
Let me double check here. Actively provoke a premonition by focusing on a subject, making a rouse check and rolling resolve plus aspects. The number of successful rolls determine the level of insight on the subject, if any. You can if you focus on the name, but without a physical appearance to focus on, it will increase the difficulty, meaning you'll need more successes to gain any viable information.
So I'm better off trying to just sort of focus on the mission, or try to have a premonition about the rest of the night and say, are we walking into a trap? Or is this going to be worse than just half a dozen ghouls? Kind of, she's trying to get a sense of how fucked are we?
Well, one thing I will say.
I'll say that for a subject, you can make it the action itself for this, yes.
So that'll require a rouse check, but it'll be more specific.
I will say, it is possible that I do have a new power that means that it is possible that I don't actually, that we might not even be able to use you as a lookout. You mentioned that he had ghouls. I may be able to turn that to my advantage because I have the rank 3 Dominate power, Submerged Directive.
I don't know if that requires them to be your ghoul or not.
No. That's not submerged. That's not specific to ghouls. Submerged Directive this Submerged Directive is not specific to my ghouls. That's a different.
As mesmerized, though the storyteller might want to make any rolls in secret, there's no way of knowing if the submerged suggestion works until the conditions are met.
Yes. So Submerged Directive basically says that I can say that if he comes home, attack him or make a ruckus or like break a window or just something to let us know that he's home.
Okay.
Or alternative.
I will say that it should occur to you that it might go against their nature to attack their master.
Better idea. Submerged Directive. If I have an idea for a Submerged Directive that could work better than that.
While you figure out how to word that, let's get the premonition out of the way.
Oh, there's a premonition. Yes, sorry.
Yes. So if you would kindly roll your rouse check, please.
What does that roll again?
A rouse check is just 1d10 unless you have additional dice from your blood potency. Which I think none of you have bought. No, none of you have increased your blood potency as far as I'm aware.
I rolled a 5. I take it standard diff is 6.
All right, so that means you gain 1 hunger.
Okay.
You draw on the power of the beast, but you rattle the cage a little too much. So you hear your very polite squeak from your Charisse beast. Yeah. And you try to focus on you try to force a premonition of what is ahead, of what can happen, of a sense of what awaits you. And as you're focusing on this, you're trying to focus on the location. He tells you where the safe is, where the information is, and as you're entering into your trance and you're pushing your mind, you're getting broken images of an entranceway, of a hallway, of an office, and you hear a voice. You are screaming, You know that voice. You see the strained and twisted face of Mortimer screaming in agony before you're knocked out of your premonition. It sounds like, according to your premonition, Mortimer might be there. And he's not feeling great.
So, if nothing else, that suggests that this asshole is in on it, since otherwise Mortimer wouldn't be there. So, that was terribly unsettling. Well, I don't know if it'll stand up to the judgment of, Oh, I wrote this on the wrong page. Good job, me. Anyway, Monsieur Fonterie, oh, remember when I said that, this woman took something from me? She
done kidnapped my husband.
She done kidnapped Mortimer. My, invisible friend, so to speak. He is there at that house, which, A, whatever bullshit blood sorcerer we're dealing with was needed to take him. B, then that blood sorcery is also at this house. So, while I'm not sure if this will be enough information to convince Monsieur Fonterie, I wonder if with this we can ask him for a little more military backup. You okay, kids? This is too much? I mean, it's not a trap, but, there's danger there that, ain't just a snooty brouhaha. Well, he might not be there, but, something is. I also gotta...
Can't decide if I'm ready to charge in or if I'm in way over my head, and it's probably both.
We've made it this far.
I'm just writing it in the right place because my notes.
Yeah, I have some stuff. I have entrancement, and I have submerged directive, and I have.
Vern, do me a favor. Make me a willpower check.
Yeah. That's just 1d10, correct?
No, it's however many die of willpower you have.
Okay. Cool. Some of these things I just forget how to do on occasion.
That's fine.
It's 3 successes.
Okay. After Riza starts talking about the premonition and then starts speaking to Isabel, after you comment about being in over your head, things start to go a little fuzzy, like you're hearing them talk through a thick glass pane. And this thought starts to come to you. It might be over my head, but there's power there. There's knowledge. I can use this to protect them. If they're dangerous, I can get back Mortimer. I can get more power. I can protect them. And I can hide the fact that I've had multiple by Philippe telling me that I've only had the one. We could probably do this. They're not expecting me to be strong enough. But I'm strong enough. Wouldn't be the first time.
Fern, are you all right? You just kind of glazed over for a bit.
Well, I may have been lying to myself when I said I was fine earlier.
Oh, sweetie, what happened? You cleaned your
Is there
clock?
something?
Still feeling a little rundown from your previous escapade this evening?
No, I feel great, and that's the problem.
Ooh.
The men you attacked, or that attacked you.
Yeah.
How did you deal with him?
In a way that's going to be a problem for me tomorrow, probably.
Do I need to roll occult to figure out what they're not saying? I'll let it, because
You know what? I would say that this would be more wits insight.
Yeah, I think Isabel knows Vern well enough to be able to see that 1 + 2 = 3 here.
Okay, but do you understand how much of a problem this is going to be for me tomorrow?
that
Oh.
It's a
is
question. How hard is Vern trying to hide this?
Probably not very,
4
because
successes and including a 10.
Okay.
So 5 successes.
well,
No.
I don't want to say it outright. I do want them to understand.
Did they
So
have-
I'm not trying very hard to hide it. I am just kind of dancing around it with words.
Vern had the
So-
forbidden noms.
Vern, you get the impression that Vern may be trying to take the first steps to dealing with an addiction by admitting it to people that they care about, but just can't work up the courage to admit that they may have developed an addiction. And it's not hard to figure out the addiction that Vern is potentially suggesting. The question is to whether or not you want to bring that to Isabel's attention and let her know that Vern may have dabbled in cannibalism is up to Riza.
Well, I mean, I think doesn't Isabel get a chance to like figure it out for herself what happened?
That's why I asked you to make a roll. And
Oh,
then you
sorry.
didn't tell me your value. I assumed
Oh,
you
I'm
could-
sorry.
Oh,
I thought I would be able to figure that out. You said it was wits insight.
yes.
Do I get any like bonus dice for the fact that like it's Vern, or like any kind of advantage for the fact that it's Vern? We've known each other our whole lives.
Yeah, I'll let you get a bonus die on that.
Yeah, just let's roll that. Okay, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 6 successes, which is a messy critical. With a possible messy crit. Yeah, I have 6 successes, including a 10 on the hunger guy, which I think might be a messy critical. I don't know how that works exactly here.
Am I gonna have to separate you two?
So you see, this is where the fight or flight instinct kicks in. Because once your human brain recognizes it, the beast processes what just happened and is now fully processing that Vern is a cannibalistic predator. And you are suddenly you are suddenly gripped with the urge to flee from this. Actually, at that point, you do need to actually make me a willpower check.
All right.
So
Give
if
me that
it's
roll.
if it's fight, then I want me some of that. If it's flight, it's oh no, they're gonna eat me.
Oh no, based on
Um,
Isabel, I'm assuming this is flight because I don't think Isabel is gonna. I think Isabel and her beast are both aware they can't take Vern.
Yeah, not even slightly.
It's more a question of, are you able to resist the urge to go flying through the door?
So that's just how many points of willpower I have currently, right?
Yes, that have not been spent.
All right, 2 successes.
Okay. With 2 successes, you scramble your way across the room and press yourself against the wall very near the door, but you don't run away at so high a speed that you leave a cutout of yourself as you run through the door.
Vern, you
Oh dear.
deep breaths. Deep breaths.
Sweetie,
He wouldn't do that to me.
do you say that out loud? Because I got my eyes
Oh,
on.
absolutely. Oh, like very quietly. This is because I think she's destroyed because I think part of that was just she's suddenly
I'm in
consumed.
danger!
Yeah, suddenly consumed with danger. She's deep stressed. Rational brain is trying to say, and I think two successes means she like catches herself.
Okay, then
Deep breaths, deep
Risa
breaths.
kind of stands
Do it
between
to
them.
me.
Sweetie, I'm not gonna condemn you defending yourself, but this kind of forbidden fruit has repercussions. So you are aware of that.
I know.
I mean, my understanding is there are benefits to it, but take it from someone who ain't riding this journey alone already.
Just
So.
Vern,
it felt like it was the right thing to do in the moment, and I am not entirely sure that I was wrong, which is really the scary thing.
You
this
saved yourself, right?
And
you
I saved Philippe.
Philippe.
And this is a creature that can steal spirits and kill 10 kindred and not get caught, and replace them with doppelgangers. So yes, I do not disagree that might have been the best way. Well, killing them was the best idea. Well, killing them was the best option. So,
Vern, at this point, Isabel is making herself look like very welcoming prey because they are not even beginning to attempt to defend themselves and are currently cowering away from you, giving you a sign of weakness, but you know they are delicious. I need you to make me a rouse check real quick just to see if you gain another dot of hunger.
That is a failure.
So you gain 1 dot of hunger as the beast is now getting up and is slowly beginning to come around to the hunger that the older kindred get, where it's the vitae of their own kind that they need to keep going and not mortals.
ooh.
And Isabel, I think Isabel like recognizes what this is and says, Vern, no, this isn't you. Sit down.
I'm like forcibly looking away from Isabel because I do not want her to see like.
Oh, you're looking away?
Yeah, no,
oh no! Oh no, you're looking away!
I'm just gonna like no.
Look me in the eye.
No!
Here's the thing. Vern was not suddenly becoming more aggressive. Vern was just becoming hungry.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. So I just want to make sure that everyone understands that Vern was not suddenly becoming aggressive and starting to salivate at the mouth, but because the beast is now stirring, Vern has become a little hungry.
Do you think we should perhaps get a meal before we go? A normal meal?
Obviously. Probably.
I'm feeling a bit peckish, and we may be walking into a battle, whether we want to or not. Just luckily
Let's
not.
get this done.
Maybe not a trap, but.
So you'll all be calling down for room service?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Snacks, though. Snacks.
Yeah, just snacks.
Not meals. Snacks.
Emphatically.
Are you all calling for snacks?
I
Vern?
am.
Yeah, I will, if only just to make the other two feel better. It's not gonna do anything for me, but
To get rid of your... If you only have 1 dot of hunger left, the only way to get rid of it is to actually exsanguinate a person. You can drop it down to 1 by just having a snack, but to get rid of that last dot of hunger, you have to exsanguinate.
Oh, okay. I thought they were at higher hunger. I actually am at 2 hunger.
I am only at 1, so actually maybe it's a bad plan.
It's up to you. You can all have a full meal and get down your hunger to 0 so that you're not rolling hunger dice unless you earned them on the operation.
I'm still okay with just having a snack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not big on the murder. Just.
So
I'm afraid that I'm becoming big on the murder.
Gee, really? I hadn't thought of that.
So 3 ghouls come to the room to offer up their necks or thighs or wrists or whatever particular part of their anatomy you wish to feed from.
Ooh, I'll have thigh.
If you prefer male, female, they of course ask that ahead of time. So it's not like most of them have anything else to do at the moment.
I think I'll go with male.
They got out of the lobby with the brouhaha.
So you were all able to feed to knock off 1 point of hunger down to a minimum of 1.
Yep.
Vern, I need you to make me another willpower check.
Oh, no.
God damn.
You've exsanguinated 1 mortal already.
Yeah.
And you've exsanguinated a kindred in
Yeah.
the span of 2 days.
Yeah.
Vern might have a problem.
Vern needs to roll me a willpower check to see if Vern's going to continue having
Or
this.
successes.
You are able to avoid exsanguinating. It's a little bit of a strain. They're not, you know, they're not unaccustomed to somebody maybe having a little bit of trouble pulling away because, you know,
They're tasty.
good is good. Yep. But you're able to keep yourself from exsanguinating them in front of the other two ghouls and your two coterie mates.
That's
It
good.
It doesn't do anything for your hunger, which only seems to annoy your beast.
Yeah.
It doesn't add to your hunger, but it does. Your beast, you can feel it prowling around inside
Your
you.
beast is cranky that you ate only one peanut. Or only one potato chip. And it's just like, dude, what?
Come on.
Come on!
Back of
It's
my
like-
brain is smacking the beast like, no, bad, don't.
It's like, it says 2 cookies are the recommended serving. Who the fuck only eats 2 cookies?
Me yesterday looking at the tin full of cookies when I ate like 5 in one day.
Me looking at a
Alright.
box of Girl Scout cookies.
I still think we need to, after... Oh, John is talking to someone off camera.
I'm sorry, when I said who eats 2 cookies, my wife raised her hand.
Oh, that's fair.
Okay.
So, after the ghouls have departed and we're regrouping after our snack, so I still think maybe we should ask for our hosts for maybe an extra security person, unless, Vern, you think you can handle this?
I'm hopeful I can. I'm also not sure they can spare an extra person.
Well, I mean, the war hasn't started yet.
Vern, when Riza asks you if you think you can handle it and you're feeling insecure, you instinctively reach around and touch the knife. And when you do, you start to come down a little bit. And you start to feel just a little bit more confident. Yeah, you think you've got this. Nothing else, the beast is starting to get hungry. And
All right, because you've seen what one of these, what a fighting type of one of these can do firsthand up close, and you think you can deal with this? We shouldn't call Philippe for a Nosferatu buddy, or take one of the mountain boys with us, or...
I think we'll be okay.
I have an idea of
I
how
can handle it. I faced one of the
Mhm.
fighting type these once. And I won that fight.
let's hope that we don't have to take that kind of risk again, though.
Because I'm leaning towards, Thoreau Tremaine doesn't sound smart enough to be an asset to these people. I think he's been replaced.
Mm-hmm.
He still might not be there, but if he's been replaced, then we're already going in blind.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, I can at least get a sim.
so is the party ready to go?
Reese really wants extra muscle.
Yeah.
I really want to bring extra muscle. Like, there's so much muscle here.
We have Vern, and they did say that it would have to be just the 3 of us. That everybody else would be preoccupied.
Oh, that's true.
Besides,
I don't want to bother them for something when they so clearly think we're competent.
They won't think it for long if we die. Like, a
Earn
second
It
points
won't
with-
be our problem. But we aren't going to die.
all we need is to get in there and see. All we need is to get in there and see if we find any evidence. If we don't find anything, we don't find anything. If we do,
Alright.
Vern, when you assert that you are certain that you are fine, you feel your beast growl in affirmation.
Oh, wow.
Well, that's always a great sign.
But you also hear something else growl behind the beast. Also an affirmation.
Beastception!
It's soft, it's subtle, it's just off of pitch with the beast. And it feels like it comes from the knife.
Okay.
It's the dagger of snide comments. Or actually, no,
Good.
the dagger of beastly confirmation. All right. The dagger of confidence boost. All right. So it is 10:58.
Yeah, we are all ready to leave, so
So this, so it looks like, next game we go into the jaws of death and blood sorcery and trapped spirits and see what happens.
it'll be
Alright.
death for the other guy.
So the coterie takes the elevator down, is directed to the driver Conrad. You are all loaded in, and the automobile takes off.
Ooh, fancy.
He can afford it.
I'll bet.
For now.
For now. We saved Paris, but we bankrupt.
But he can build up his own personal funds. And again, if this turns out to be a thing where it actually involves defending the city, he can break this off as a corporate expense.
Yeah.
We saved the city, but we bankrupted the nicest toreador in history.
He'll survive. He's a good businessman. He has resources. He'll make it work.
He's Alsatian. They survive. All right, so I guess that's game.
Yeah.
All right.
Right off into the night and run the credits.
Credits roll. I don't suppose there's an after credit scene.
You guys want to play a little bit longer? I can bring you into the next bit. But honestly, any mid-credit or after-credit scene for this particular episode is going to involve stuff the player should know about.
Okay. So no spoilers this game.
I am perfectly fine with the way things... Wait, there have been after-credit scenes?
In my head there have been, but that involves me being aware of shit that's going on that you shouldn't be.
I assumed Mr. Maka doing the slow clap was the equivalent of an end credit scene. Even if it didn't happen there.
Yeah. It's the post-credit scene is more when he emerges from the shadows on the other end and what happens there. But you all don't know about that.
All right.
Yeah. All right.
I'm mostly just excited to I'm mostly just excited to finally flex my presence 3.
All right. Well, chat, thanks for watching tonight. This is Magic Fish Radio. We do TTRPG streams on Tuesdays and Saturday nights. This has been Vampire the Masquerade V5, set in the roaring 1920s, currently in Paris, originally in Boston, maybe someday in Vienna if we survive this layover. The most dangerous layover ever. Unless Vienna comes to us, given all of the drama in Paris. You really want to do spoilers, but you can't, because you know I don't like them. Do not.
I will say this. By the end of the Paris arc, you'll all have an option simply to turn around and avoid Vienna.
Oh dear, it's worse there.
Okay.
You have the option.
See, I really want to talk to my sire.
Invite him to Paris. Invite him to Paris and you'll talk in a ring of Bruja cheering you on to diablerize him.
Oh my god, rank 4 dominate is extremely fun.
Anyway, so chat, thank you for tuning in. This is our very dramatic game of 3 chuckleheads wandering into international vampire politics by accident. Whoops. And 3 or 4. I count as 1. That's fine. So yes, if you like what you see, we have VODs of previous episodes on this Twitch page. We also have them on YouTube. If you're watching from the future and not live, thank you for the use of your eyeballs on our VOD. Because our YouTube channel isn't really going anywhere, but seeing views makes me feel good. Even if it's only like 2 views. So yeah, I will start with outros and then I will go look for someone to raid. So I'm at Ms. Chrysula. I'm Chris Fisher. I play Charisol the Malkavian. I am the channel producer and overall angry Kermit of Magic Fish Radio. I also GM Exit to Eden on alternate Saturday nights. And on some other Saturday nights, I run indie game one-shots, which is sometimes it's me, sometimes it's someone else. if you are an indie game writer, developer, artist, just overall fan person, and you would like to run a one-shot of an indie game for us weirdos on a Saturday night, unfortunately we can't pay anyone, just putting that out there, but if you want to, signal boost your game with a stream, join our Discord and come talk to us about it, because, we'll vibe check your game, we'll vibe check you, but most of our noobs have been very chill, and we are chill people, and it is a fun time. So, indie game one-shots. I still have no idea what we're doing this week, but it'll be fun. And yeah. Oh, and I am also in a game stream called A Romp Across Ravnica, which is D&D 5e Ravnica Magic the Gathering setting, on Thursdays, where I play Moo the Tabaxi Barbarian, who has a -1 to her int, but a decently high wisdom. So, like, she's good at making decisions in the moment, but when it's memory-based, it's like, no. Nah, man, no. Just gonna eat a mushroom and just rely on the artificer to make better decisions about explosions. So that's Thursday nights for me, if you want to see me in color. And in leopard makeup. It's awesome. And with that, I'm gonna go find someone to raid. John, you go next.
Hello, I am your storyteller. I hope you've all enjoyed this little madcap adventure. You really can't find me anywhere else on the internet. I'm really only here streaming on Tuesday nights. This chronicle should be coming to a close in the relatively near future, possibly sooner, depending upon choices made at the end of the Paris arc.
Uh-oh.
And, you could all just choose to go back to Boston and ignore the rest of the story. At which point we would move on to another game, either V5 or something else. I have ideas. I have many ideas. I have tons of things I want to run people through, and we'll see how that goes. If you all like what we're doing here, please keep tuning in. If you're watching us from the future again, thank you very much. If you've got suggestions, toss them down in the chat. Why not? It'll be fun. And then we will go to Dorakis.
Hi, I'm Dracus. I've been playing Vern, this very impulsive Nosferatu this evening. Every day this character becomes more and more delightful for me to play, and not in a good sort of way, in a, oh my god, I can't believe he's just falling to these depths sort of way. It's great. It's great.
Wasn't your initial pitch of the character like, can I just be a chaos goblin that lives in the sewer? And we're like, we have
fucked
a
up
whole
sewer dweller. Yeah.
We have a whole clan for that.
I'm really playing into that, and
Yes.
it delights me, as vampires should be. So if you want to see me playing a not fucked up sewer dweller, I am here on Saturday nights for the Exit to Eden games, playing Klaus, the resident asshole mage slash medic slash entertainment person.
I will put. Is he a sewer dweller?
Vern?
No, Klaus.
Oh, they're no.
You said, okay, I asked because you said non
Yeah.
like goblin
Not
sewer.
not fucked up, not a sewer dweller.
Okay, that is the important thing, because non-fucked up
Usually.
sewer dweller could be not fucked up, but
fucked
still
up a little bit,
The
dweller.
class is kind of fucked up,
But
yeah.
not in the same way as Vern, by any stretch of the imagination. So
If you want to know what the Diablerie equivalent is in NWAD Mage, just ask after stream.
yeah.
No,
So
What's funny is
we
they're
don't
called
do that.
Tremere. What's really funny is they're called Tremere. Anyway.
yeah, so we don't do that in the Saturday night game, or at least I don't. And yeah, so you can find me there. Find me on Discord. It's a good time.
Woohoo.
All right.
Yay.
Hi, I'm Ari. I'm playing Isabel Quincy, who has absolutely no idea how to deal with now being like scared of her own like dear brother who she loves.
And really hot for the librarian chick.
Oh, that's normal. That bit's way more normal.
That's fine. Or being hot
Isabel,
for half of
I
her.
will point out, Isabel is, to be clear, Isabel is a disaster bisexual and has been portrayed this way the entire time. being like super hot for librarian is not even slightly abnormal. Being scared of her brother, that's way weirder.
Okay. Anything to plug?
Let's see. Anything to plug? What should I just put a recommendation on? The free trial for Final Fantasy XIV is very soon to come back. Is very soon to become available again. So once that becomes available, I recommend you get started on that. The plans are to resume that in the new thing. So great JRPG. Essentially, like, I know it's an MMORPG, but it is essentially a single player RPG story that they put in an MMO. So hey, give it a try. Tons of fun.
All right. I'm gonna suck up to the other channel I'm on, and we're gonna raid We Are Nerdsmith. Though I seem to remember last time we convened, there were like no RPG streams on Tuesday night for some reason. That was just weird. So they're all back tonight. So and they are playing Shenanigoons, which is a D&D game. A very silly D&D game. I think half the party is in a polycule. It's awesome. What I do get to catch bits of it after our game. And so yeah, prepare to raid We Are Nerdsmith. Again, thank you for watching tonight. If you watch live, if you're watching this from the future via VOD, thank you too. Try to catch all our VODs and watch bits and pieces of our shows. We're not great with continuity, so you don't have to be either. Strongly recommend the HackerCon plot of Exit to Eden because it was ridiculous and much improvised to my delight, because I like to improv. Time to go over V5 creation. Oh, good luck! Woohoo! And so until we see you next time, live or via VOD, please take care of yourself, take care of each other, and please Diablerize responsibly. Bye! And that's my outro forever. Bye!